Hello, everybody! It is me and Dean, and we're back for another reaction time where today we shall be switching things up and discussing another superhero show, so not really switching too much up, but we will be discussing Arrow this time around instead of The Flash. We will be discussing Season 3, Episode 13, titled Canaries.
Ah!
Well, was that your canary noise, I'm assuming?
I've never heard a canary, but
I just thought of that too. I'm like,
yeah.
I will now assume that that's the canary sound. So reaction time. If you haven't seen us before, we cover all of these stuff throughout the episode and series as a whole. So major spoilers for all of Arrow, possibly some spoilers for The Flash too, since those shows, if you don't watch them, don't know why you wouldn't be watching them. But if you don't watch them, those two coincide very much so. Also, Dean, I never asked how you were. How are you?
I'm real good, dude. I'm in a really good mood today. How are you doing?
I am, as you can tell, I'm singing. I'm Greg. We all know Greg.
Greg to the
Alrighty,
max.
so let's hop right into this. I list notes now as I watch these episodes, as all of you make fun of me for. And right off the bat, we had a opening fight scene between Sarah Lance and Laura Lance, which was awesome. The only thing that it made me think about was how much I miss Sarah as Black Canary. How about you?
Yeah, dude. I didn't really think it was that awesome. I kind of thought she looked like a drunk gorilla fighting her own shadow.
Yeah.
It was the worst shit ever. I hated that fight. I think I hate not Laurel, because in the comic books I'm actually a big fan of Dinah. She goes by Dinah, not Laurel in the comics and stuff. But yeah, I think I hate her.
Yeah, when seeing Sarah back, it just makes me so happy. I loved her as Black Canary. I think she pulls it off. The whole look of it 10 times better than Laurel does. Laurel's looks like almost like a militaresque suit, whereas Black Canary on Sarah almost reminded me of a Black Canary. Not that I know what that looks like, but I just feel like in my head that's what I picture more.
Yeah, and I hate that she wears like this stripper wig, like just
I know.
either dye your hair or just like be brunette. Like it looks just so bad. I hate it.
I hate how she wears the stripper wig. That is a t-shirt, everybody. Coming to you soon. So after all of this, the opening cinematic plays we see previously on Arrow and all that good stuff. And it opens up to a reporter crowd interviewing this prisoner escapee, who we all remember from past episodes as the new and improved Count Vertigo, who has come back, and now he is coming out of jail, or going to jail. I don't know what they were doing, transferring him, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Or not, it wasn't the Count. The Count is...
He
went crazy and died.
Yeah, I remember that. This is who took up the Vertigo strand, and my apologies. His name is Vigil, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Something with a V. It's not Virgo. We all know Virgo. It happens. The reporters are going after him. All of a sudden, things go awry. The cop that is escorting him starts seeing demon faces everywhere. God rest his soul. Starts shooting the crowd. Killed, I believe. They don't ever tell you what happens to the reporters, but kills 2 of them.
They were dead, dude. Yeah, that was pretty insane. He was just like opening fire on the crowd. I was like, whoa.
It was like the scene from Call of Duty. He just lit everybody up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, spoilers for Call of Duty too. I didn't know we'd end up there. But yeah, so he ends up escaping, which, of course, why wouldn't he escape? That whole scene pissed me off, because how do you miss an orange jumpsuit dressed convict running away? I just didn't know how they lose him. How about you? How'd you feel about that scene?
I'm gonna tell you what, Greg. Overall, this entire episode, minus parts here and there, kind of really pissed me off. I feel like Vertigo has been the theme of like 3 episodes or like 4 episodes now. Like, just let it be done.
Yeah.
Finish the Vertigo. He's done.
Yeah.
It's annoying me.
They use it a lot to establish the emotions that characters are going through, so they can bring back other stuff. So I get why they use it so much. It's just you're 100% right. Exactly. It's a 100% cop-out. But moving on to something that I enjoyed in this episode very much and didn't expect them to go to at all. The next scene shows us Malcolm Merlyn comes to visit the Arrow crew in the vault, which apparently anybody can get into. It's not so much a Batcave as nobody thought it was. Everybody knows the pin code, which is probably 3.14 pi, as we all know. But he comes in, he starts talking to him about Thea, and Ra's al Ghul is coming. How do you pronounce it, by the way? Ra's al Ghul? Ra's al Ghul?
I say Raish just because
Me
that's
too.
the way Kevin Conroy's Batman always said it.
Yeah, okay.
That's my real Batman from my childhood.
That's where I'm at too. So Ra's al Ghul, he's coming for them, and Thea, Oliver, Malcolm Merlin need to team up against Felicity's better known wishes and everybody's better known wishes. But through this conversation comes the idea once again of Oliver revealing that he's the arrow to Thea, and surprise, he does it.
Yeah, I thought something was gonna happen. He's gonna be like, never mind. Oh, we'll come back later. Yeah, yeah, he totally did it, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, and the best part was Thea was so happy. I did not expect that reaction from her at all.
No, dude, I was shocked. She was like, really. I felt like it was the first time that he revealed his secret to someone, and they were like, thanks, dude.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Everybody else was like, how could you do this? She was like, wow, you saved everybody so many times. Thanks, man.
Yeah, she was like, wait, so that was you that did this, and then you did that? You're awesome. I was like, wait, but did you forget how he let your mother die, and your dead? Like, all of that's just thrown away. But as we continue on here, another point, we talk about this all the time with the supporting cast of Arrow. I'm not so strongly attached to them as I am the supporting cast of The Flash, for instance. I love Dr. Snow in that. I love Cisco in that. Felicity, I love in the show. I think she's probably my favorite character of the entire Arrow series. I just love her. I love the actress. She's gorgeous. But Roy is a unit of the show that's so underutilized, and he actually got some spotlight time this episode, which I wanted to get your opinion on. How do you feel that they utilized Roy this episode?
I liked it. I'm a big advocate of Roy Harper, aka Arsenal. I think he is. I think he's pretty awesome, dude. It's kind of weird though. Like they're showing him kind of progressing backwards. Like when he first came onto the scene, if we remember, when he was in his street clothes, now fighting with Arrow, he was like doing somersaults and handsprings in the street and shit. And like now that he just comes out and he's like, and like he just falls down to the ground. I'm like, whoa, what happened to freaking this badass that we saw? But I think the actor is a little bit one-dimensional. But I feel like it's not really his fault. I think it's kind of in the writing, and I would like to see him get some more spotlight time. Actually,
yeah, 100%. A highlight for me from this episode was when Thea comes in. Laurel gets beat up the first time they go after Vigil, whoever he is.
Viggly, we call him.
We'll call him Viggly, Wiggly. And he literally beats her up, which I don't get because in the hallucination thing, she's getting beat up with a pole, but then is he just punching her? I didn't get that dynamic either. But
he was hitting her with her own baton.
Oh my god, that's so messed up. I didn't realize
he like snatched it from her when she swung it, and he was beating her with it.
The Level Up Network does not support the abusing of women, and we all love women. Kristen,
especially
we love
not
you.
Stripper wig.
Especially, I love that. That's my takeaway from this episode. So now she's a bloody mess. Thea comes down into the vault, which once again everybody knows the code to all of a sudden, and she shows up there and she's like, "Oh my god." A bigger reaction to this than seeing Oliver as the Arrow, which I hated. And she's like, oh my god, is Laurel a part of this? What's going on? And Oliver kind of dismisses her. Go upstairs to your room, acting like her father once again. And Roy's kind of like, Oliver, hey, chill the hell out. She deserves to be here. You told her the secret, so now you have to deal with the consequences. And I loved that spotlight that they put on him there.
That's interesting because this is good because I actually took the total opposite opinion of that situation.
Okay, give me yours.
I hated that, dude. All right, like we're looking at a guy here. He's like risks everything for this city and these people specifically. He never really wanted to let anybody in on this because he doesn't want anyone to die. He doesn't want anyone to get hurt. Like he gets hurt all the time.
Yeah.
And like he does die. He died. Like, he came back from the dead. He comes home. He's like, that's cool. I'm gonna keep fighting anyway because I love this city.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, Oliver, get out of here. You can't do stuff the way you want to do it. Like, yes, he can, dude. Yeah. He built this entire thing. I hated that. I was so pissed off about that.
Really?
Shit out of the... It seemed like they treated him that way, like, out of the blue.
Yeah.
Like, he just walked in and they were like, dude, we can't do everything your way anymore, Oliver. And I was like, why the hell not, dude? He's been doing everything right the whole time.
Yeah. Well, the only thing... I agree with some of your points there, but Felicity says it best when she's like, you were gone, and she keeps repeating that theme throughout these past couple episodes since we've been back. he was gone and they all had to pick up the torch. So when he's directing Laurel not to become this Black Canary, I know he's doing it out of care for her, and especially for her dad going through all the heart problems and stuff, but like he wasn't there. It was her choice to do it, and they also recruited Laurel, so now he can't come back and kind of snip everything away. In my opinion, I love to see all the superheroes united. I want this Arrow Justice League of sorts to combine powers.
Oh yeah, well that's clearly what they're doing, and that's kind of what John Diggle, or if his name is Diggle, that's kind of what John said to Arrow. Is like this has become like a thing that's like bigger than just you, which kind of alludes to the fact that like that's what you just said wanted to happening.
Yeah.
And I actually liked his take on it. Once he kind of put things into perspective, I was like, I'm not so peeved about the way they reacted, but they could have just said it the way he said it.
Yeah, and I have that actually as a note on my thing there. I love when the show grounds itself and brings it down and boils it down to just Diggle and Oliver talking as best friends. It's not the Arrow talking to his bodyguard. It's the two guys. They always hash stuff out, and you're 100% right. Diggle's always like the voice of reason on the show. It's like what everyone else is thinking, he's the one to say it, and I wish everybody else could just get behind the Diggle mentality.
For sure, and he's the one who say it like in the appropriate way, and that is cool because him and Diggle were the ones who were the like OGs of the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on though a bit, Felicity once again in her all-star moment brings Laurel when she wakes up from her beaten up, terrible state. If you did notice, she still has the scar on her arm there from when she got the blade thrown at her. I thought that was a cool little nod to the past episode. But she talks to her and she's like, "Listen. You don't have to be Sarah, you have to be Laurel. And you have this shining light about you." How did you feel about her speech to Laurel there?
I mean, I feel like it was a blatant lie.
Yeah, I know.
What has she done that's been so special? Like, I hate to really hate on Laurel. And like I said, dude, like I love her in the comics. Her and Oliver's relationship when they're like fighting and stuff is like some of my favorite scenes in like the Justice League comics, but gosh, she's just never done anything cool in this show. She's kind of like a little baby about everything.
Yeah, she's like everyone keeps mentioning in the show when she goes on her Vertigo trip. She's an addict. She's annoying. Nobody likes you. You're just a whiner. Just get over yourself. Right. And I completely agree with you. I really like Laurel in the comics, Dinah, as she's known. But what was I going to say? I don't know if I can believe her taking up the mantle and the crusade that Sarah did. And I don't know how they're going to kind of incorporate that and infuse that into this show. How do you think they'd be able to do that?
I don't know. I'll tell you what right now. I'm not saying it just to be funny, but I'm not going to be able to take her seriously as long as she's wearing that stripper wig.
Oh my god.
I can't, dude. I'm the same. I really can't.
Yeah, it's so true. Because it just looks so bad. Like, go to the Flash terrible. And get some special effects. Do a CGI wig if you can. It'd probably look better than that. It really does
look like if anyone out there is of age and has seen a stripper, that's what it looks like when strippers wear wigs. It really is like super easily, like you can tell it's fake right away.
Yeah.
100%. But it was kind of cool at the end to see Dinah and Arrow on the street together, like I've seen them in the Justice League. I like that a lot.
That whole coming together moment when the building's on fire and Wiggle Wiggly escapes or whatever, and as he's running away, and she stops him by tripping him there, and then they have that shot of both of them standing next to each other. I love that too.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Now let's switch gears here a little bit to the flashbacks during this episode. We saw Amanda Waller as a continuous psychopath. And they're making her into this, like, I knew she was always crazy, and she's kind of like that in the comics and stuff like that, but in this, she's like a blatant terrorist, I feel like. She's just torturing people left and right. She doesn't give any crap about anybody. And for these people that have helped her out so much, she basically trained Oliver to become this person, and then waterboarding him, as we saw, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But how do you feel on Amanda Waller in this show?
I agree with you pretty much. She's like a little bit too of an intensified version of the character. Granted, this is someone who put together a Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
But even so, like, I agree. It's a little over the top.
Yeah, 100%. And the show exaggerates a lot of stuff, like we saw with Detective Lance and his heart condition. But another big spoiler for this episode, he found out Laurel told him about Sarah. And I actually wrote a note at the beginning of the episode when she's hallucinating about him yelling at her. To just tell him, and like it's his right to know. And I was like, this plotline doesn't end soon. And then lo and behold, by the end of the episode, she tells him, and he handled it pretty well. He didn't die, so that's good. Right. Yeah. But what did you think about that scene?
I thought it was cool. I thought actually, okay, well that's good because this gives me an opportunity to say something positive about the actress that plays Laurel Lance.
Okay.
That was like probably one of the first scenes where I actually believed what she was saying because like if you've ever talked to your parent before, which I'm sure everyone has, and like you have something terrible to tell them, and like you know you're about to get in deep trouble.
Yeah.
Like you just start crying and you're like choking up, and like she nailed that. I thought that was pretty realistic to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was a positive Laurel moment out of all the negatives that we had. I wrote another note. I don't know why I said this, but Felicity's awesome in all caps. That's just what I wrote. I love her. I don't know why. Every time she's on the screen, and she wasn't even in that episode that much, but in this episode that much. But she was awesome. I just love her. I know that this week though, when they were shooting this episode, they were shooting when her and the Atom are going to the Flash, so she might have been taken out for a couple of those scenes or whatever. And then what else do I have here? Another scene that pissed me off. Oliver reveals to Thea that he is the Arrow. He never mentions anybody else, that Felicity's involved, that Diggle's involved, whatever. He's sitting in the apartment with Thea and casually brings up, oh yeah, me and Roy tonight were hunting down this guy and blah, blah, blah. And she has no reaction to it at all.
Well, you know what, I thought the same thing to myself when I was watching it, but then I recalled before I want to say before the mid-season finale, or maybe when they first came back from the break.
Okay.
She was talking to Roy, and she was like, something came up somehow, and she was like, "Oh, you don't think I know it's you that's been like palling around with the Arrow? You just because you put a red horn on it, or like something like that."
Oh yeah.
So she did acknowledge it before, but I thought the same thing at first. I was like, "Oh wait, I think she's addressed this actually."
I actually forgot about that moment, but yeah, you're right. I was so angry when I first saw that, and she's like, "Oh, Roy, he's just crazy." Yeah. I'm like, what? He was your boy. You guys had sex and stuff. This should be crazy to you that he's shooting people in the legs with arrows.
I am glad that one guy is gone. Speaking of sex, that
is my next note. So we have the Wicca DJ boy, who wasn't even. They made him out to be this like smoking hot dude. He looks heinous. I just want to be honest with you. He annoyed the hell out of me. And I'm secure enough in my masculinity to point out that he was not attractive at all.
No.
And he was this DJ that's coming to Verdant is the club, right? And
yes.
He's this DJ. All of a sudden, last episode, he gets a call from the League of Assassins, and he's like, Ra's al Ghul needs you to take out Thea. I'm like, what the hell did they do with this character? That pissed me off to no end.
I liked the plot thread. I liked that it was for someone from the League of Assassins infiltrating about Malcolm Merlyn. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But the actor was not the right choice. It should have been some I don't know, for starters, maybe like a really built Asian dude who was Asian like the rest of the freaking League of Assassins.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I don't understand. Is how are all of these teenage white boys joining the League of Assassins? How does one find the League of Assassins? Because even in the Malcolm Merlyn episode we saw, was it last episode or two before, I'm forgetting now, but he just shows up there. How does he find it? How do people just know where the League of Assassins is?
And they don't explain that either. He just says, I found somewhere that's going to make me strong.
Yeah, and I'm like, how did you find it? It's like the vault in the show. Everyone just knows where everything is. But to bring Malcolm Merlyn into this again, so the guy, Thea, and him sleep together. They wake up, and she goes to drink wine. Awesome Thea moment, by the way. She's like, oh, and when I was in Paris and we were drinking wine, she's like, I could smell cyanide in this. And then the battle breaks out.
Yeah.
I love Thea Queen. I love seeing her in action scenes. I hope that they make her into more of an action person, because I really like that actress. I think she handles those scenes really well, even though she probably has a stunt double. But then Roy busts in. He stalked her, tried to save her, and then Malcolm Merlyn walks in and then finally stops him. The guy ends up killing himself. But what do you think of that whole dynamic?
Again, I feel like that should have been Roy's moment.
Yeah.
I feel like Malcolm Merlyn shouldn't have been shoehorned in there to steal the show. I feel like that's what I mean. Roy was a better fighter than that when we first saw him. So and especially after him breaking out and standing up for her to Oliver, I thought that should have been the culmination of that whole thing. He should have been there. And
Agreed.
been the one to save her.
Agreed, 100%. They need to stop underutilizing Arsenal. His uniform looks so cool too.
Yeah, it is badass, isn't it?
Yeah, so now I'm going to bring it all the way to the end. Overall, what did we think of this episode?
It was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of my favorites. It wasn't terrible by any means. I think that they just treaded on some ground that we've already seen, and they kind of made some inconsistencies within like the characters that they've been building up for like 3 seasons now. But I love Arrow, and I'm glad. I was glad to see Oliver back out on the streets, so that's nothing to complain about. How about you?
100%. I literally wrote down okay ... at the bottom of my notes. But we also had. I just wanted to point out one more thing. The episode ends. And it ends on the flashbacks meeting up with the present in a kind of flip-flop situation. Oliver brings Thea to go train her at the freaking island. And then, in the flashbacks, Amanda Waller and Tatsu, I think his name is, end up bringing him back to Starling City. So he was there at some point while he was missing, quote-unquote. Right. What did we think about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the whole situation with that. At first, when I saw that, I thought like, oh, that must be when he decided to come home, but then it's not. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. So continue watching Arrow, and me and Dean will be here to discuss Arrow with you, as well as The Flash and other superhero shows that we enjoy so much. Of course, you can check out all of our reaction times and plenty of our other videos at youtube.com/The Level Up Show, level spelled LVL, and I'll put that link at the bottom here for you. This time we had no frame drops, and Greg is in sunburn, so you guys can enjoy this video in crystal clear quality. I hope, anyway. Fingers crossed on that. Also, if you would like to donate to us by watching all of our content, and if you want so much more of this content, you can go to patreon.com/The Level Up Network, spelled exactly as it sounds, and you can see the link down here below that I will put there. So thank you for joining me, Dean.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's always a good time seeing your beautiful face, chatting it out.
Stop that nonsense. Canary. I had to do it once. But yeah, always remember to level up. We love you guys.